This is a good time to circle back to groups that have really been laid to waste for the last couple of weeks. I mean, groups that frankly are in bear markets. And that includes the early stage biotechs. This is an industry that's been out of favor in 2020, since really 2021. But there are always opportunities in biotech. You just got to look for them. Which brings me to Karuna Therapeutics. Now, this is an early stage biopharma company. I mean, you can't get any of their drugs right now. It's working on medications for people with psychiatric and neurological conditions. The lead drug is in phase 3 trials as a treatment for schizophrenia. And they're also studying its impact on patients with dementia-induced psychosis. This is always an intriguing area because existing antipsychotic drugs have unbelievably horrible side effects. Now, unlike most biotechs, Karuna hasn't lagged the market this year. It's actually up 21% for 2021. However, in the past month, this pulled back hard from its highs, like many other stocks, even though management gave you a bullish presentation in early November. So could this be a buying opportunity? Let's check in with Dr. Steve Paul. He's the chairman and CEO of Karuna Therapeutics. Get a better sense of his company's prospects. Dr. Paul, welcome to Mad Money.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Now, Dr. Paul, our viewers do not know Karuna. This is your first visit, so I'd like to turn the floor over to you first to explain what you're doing for some very difficult illnesses.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, Karuna is a clinical stage, psych-focused, CNS-focused biotech company developing what we believe will be a best-in-class, potentially game-changing treatment for schizophrenia and psychotic disorders in general. As you probably know, schizophrenia is a very serious mental illness, affects about 1% of the population, so 3 million Americans live with this disease. It's very disabling. Only about 10% of patients with schizophrenia are gainfully employed. Life expectancy for these patients is reduced by about 10 to 15 years. Tragically, about 5 to 10% die from suicide. So it's a very disabling, lifelong illness. And frankly, Jim, the treatments we have today aren't all that much better than they were when I was a medical student in the early 70s. We're still using drugs. There are about 20 marketed products to treat this illness that are not that different than the very first drug introduced 70 years ago, a drug called Thorazine. So what we have at Karuna, we believe, is, again, a very novel, very new medicine. We've done 3 placebo-controlled phase 2 trials where we've seen remarkable efficacy. And Jim, to your earlier point, without those very difficult, troubling side effects, massive weight gain, elevations in blood pressure, diabetes, neurological side effects, that profile is not our drug. It works very, very differently, has really robust efficacy, at least based on our phase 2 studies, without the baggage, if you will, of the current standard of care. So we're excited. We're in phase 3, as you mentioned. We've got 4 phase 3 trials up and running. They will read out, the first of which will read out about June of this coming year, 2022, and the second pivotal phase 3 will read out towards the end of the year. And we couldn't be more excited about this new medicine.
Okay, now, I know you have a tremendous background in this field. So therefore, you know exactly how difficult it is. Why have the larger companies not succeeded, and we think that your company can?
Well, we've assembled a terrific team of people, but most importantly, we have an exceptionally interesting medicine. This was a medicine that I was developing way back when I was at Lilly. I was head of research at Lilly. We had a drug that we were developing for a different purpose, discovered these remarkable antipsychotic properties, but we had some side effects. And we've now figured out how to deal with those side effects. We've co-formulated our medicine with another medicine that blocks the side effects, brought it back into the clinic, and showed this remarkable efficacy. So again, it's really based on clinical data. We've also assembled a terrific team. They kid me, we probably have a century or 2 of experience in developing drugs in this space, a lot of battle scars, but we know what we're doing. And we're very optimistic we'll be able to get through these trials.
Well, let's talk about dementia, too. I run the American Brain Foundation Gala and do a lot of work with the American Migraine Foundation. And I've got to tell you, I'm not saying these are difficult. I'm saying I think these are often impossible issues. And I'm not saying I'm defeated, but I listen to Karuna, and I don't want to get my hopes up. As you know, from the work, say, we do with the American Brain Foundation, it's just a bust after a bust after a bust. Can you tell people why this is so hard?
Yeah, let me also be clear. We're developing our lead product for the psychotic behavioral disturbances in Alzheimer's disease and other dementing disorders. We're not developing this drug to slow the progression of the disease, but about 50% of patients with Alzheimer's disease, roughly about 6 million people in the US, develop very bad behavioral symptoms. They hallucinate, they have delusions, vocal outbursts, agitation. And this unfortunately leads to nursing home care, hospitalizations, not only very troubling for the patients, but you can imagine for their families. And our drug works. We had a phase 2 study we conducted a number of years ago with the lead product at Lilly, and it worked pretty well in this condition. Again, we have solved the tolerability issue. So we're quite optimistic our drug is going to treat these behavioral symptoms of Alzheimer's. We don't pretend that this will slow the progression. And you're right, those drugs have been challenging to find.
Do you think the Lilly drug has hope against Alzheimer's, the current one?
Well, I'm optimistic, yes, and as a former Lilly employee, I am optimistic. But again, our drug works very differently. It works on a different set of symptoms, nonetheless very troubling symptoms, the kind of symptoms that really impair life and the care of these patients.
Well, I can't tell you how it was important that you come on the show. These are diseases that are not talked about. People see people who are homeless. They think that the people have something that is they're just not right. They don't realize that a lot of them have the things that you're trying to address. It must be addressed. And I'm so glad that you haven't given up like all the big drug companies have, because we need to solve these issues. Thank you so much, Dr. Steve Paul, Chairman and CEO of Karuna Therapeutics. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Yep. God, what can I say? These are really important issues. They're issues I'm involved in personally. I can tell you that these people have opportunities. Doesn't mean that they can pull them off. But if you believe and you really want to take a leap of faith, Karuna, Mad Money's back in for the break.
Coming up, a storm is coming. So give us a call. Kramer's got the answers to all your burning questions. The lightning round is next.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.